All right, guys, welcome back to the next part in this Total War Chat podcast series. We've done RTR Imperium Surrectum was the first one, and then the modder behind the Era chapter mods on Rome 2, Attila, Napoleon, and lately we've been going through with Tomic, who is the YouTuber that I've been discussing lots about with Total War and all that jazz. And today, in this video, we've got AveMetal, who is the mod creator for Para Bellum on Rome 2 Total War. So welcome to the podcast series, and if you want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here today with you. And yes, I am the creator of Para Bellum and many other mods that you can find in the workshop. And I also develop for other video games like simulators and yes, Milsim. So that's it. Many
Nice.
thanks to you.
Yeah, thanks.
And
thanks
let's start when you want.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for coming on. It's a great pleasure and an honor. You know, I've enjoyed your mods for a long time. I think that when I think of Rome 2 Total War, the first few mods that come to my mind are Para Bellum, Divide et Impera, you know, and Para Bellum is definitely in that top 3, 4, 5 that I just immediately comes to my mind. So it's nice to chat with you and talk to you and yeah, I can't wait to get through it. So I think a good place to start with kind of discussions like this is to ask you what brought you and kind of what kindled your love for Total War. What was your first Total War game, and why?
Well, my first Total War is the Shogun, the first one.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like a teenager and I didn't have much money, so I bought it with my neighbor. So half of the game, but I was the one that owns the computer, so he has to come to my house to play. And finally, I was playing all the day with Shogun, and that was the first one. Yes. So I played Medieval 1, the Medieval 2, and then Rome, the first one, no? Okay. And that's it. And then also I like Shogun, but my favorite time frame is like Antiquity. So Rome and Rome 2 are my favorite ones.
Okay, nice. Yeah. That's cool. I started with Shogun as well. My dad bought Shogun at a PC World store in the UK.
I recall video games were not cheap, so
yeah, no, they weren't. And I never, like, apart from the first few games I played were games that he was playing, basically, that I kind of like watched, and then when I got old enough I kind of played a little bit. So there was like Star Wars, Dark Forces, and there was Age of Empires, and yeah. So Shogun was like instantly you had to jump into the first game. Basically, you saw it in like the magazines, and you were like, wow.
It was like very original, the idea to move the troops like it was not 3D but like sprites, no? So they move in the battleground, and it was funny.
Yeah,
it was a good game.
Yeah, it was really good. I love also, just on the note of Shogun, this is going to come out in a couple of weeks, this video, but I love that right now they're going through the Shogun kind of like 25 anniversary celebration. Creative Assembly talking about Shogun.
Oh, I'm getting all 25 anniversary. Yes,
I know, right? Me too. Tell me about it. But no, I mean, they're talking to some of the original developers on the team, and it's so interesting to hear how Shogun came about and their design philosophy, and how much of an impact it had on future games, Medieval, and then, like you said, Rome as well.
Yes.
So yeah. I think it was a good, interesting era to start with, and it was a good start from there then to Medieval and then Rome. Like they covered 3 amazing eras in those first few games. So you said, sorry, which was your favorite, did you say?
My favorite of the Total War games is Rome 2. Yes.
Okay, yeah, Rome too. I think
So
that whenever I'm going to talk to modders on this podcast, the favorite question is going to be the game that they mod essentially. So it makes
yes,
total sense.
it's mostly about the time frame. I mean,
Yeah,
yes, Roman and Hellenistic era is like very cool. Like
yeah,
how all the strategic and tactical point of view, how it was evolved is like for me it's like the peak, no? Because well, before in the Bronze Age, it was not like so complex in
yeah.
this way. I mean, it's interesting, yes, if you like history, but you have a lot of variety
Mhm.
in. I mean, each faction is like unique almost. So
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. And I think that like okay, mechanically Rome 2, I feel like anyway, Rome 2 did some things not as good as some previous games, but the variety of the cultures, the that it was a huge upgrade from original Rome. I mean, Rome
yes,
had um like a dozen, maybe like 15, 16 like factions, unique cultures like kind of dotted around, really. It wasn't that much.
yes.
Um so Rome 2 was a huge upgrade, I think, from a really representing the world at that time
From the
perspective.
modern perspective, is like very interesting because you have always something to improve. I mean, the scale of the game
Yeah.
is very huge. So well,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
that's the point.
and it was also like okay, from a scale perspective, I think Empire was probably the most impressive game we saw up until then, right? But for that era, I think that we had Medieval 2, we had Rome, we had Shogun 2, Napoleon. Set Empire aside for a second, Rome 2 definitely would have been the kind of like deepest and most kind of wide from a culture and faction, from a unit kind of variety as well perspective in the series up to that point. Yeah. So and some of the DLC campaigns were amazing too. I mean, I really enjoy Rise of the Republic, the later edition, a lot.
Yes,
I think it's a really cool, interesting campaign. I really enjoyed Caesar and Goal. I think a lot of people like miss it a little bit, but Caesar and Goal is a
I
really
haven't
cool,
played that much.
challenging. Yeah,
Yes. And in general, I don't play much campaigns. I mean, it's interesting to play it if you want to improve it from the point of view of the modding perspective. Yes, but for example, the Rise of the Republic DLC, I recall one mod from Rome Total War, the first one, that was a peninsula or peninsula Italica, like Italic Peninsula,
yeah, I know that.
and it's a good inspiration for some campaign that I am developing in that map.
Okay, yeah,
So yes, there
yeah.
were very cool mods about Rome One Total War, like very yes, like iconic, I would say nowadays.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when you look at mods across all of Total War, uh, Rome 1 and Medieval 2 was kind of the era where modders um, were very invested and they were very creative. And, though there were some tools, they really had to do it quite DIY, I think, and,
yes,
kind of recreate these maps and settlement placements and changing the settlement models and it was like I didn't really get through that sort of modding time when I was playing the games. Then modding for me is fairly new, like 6 7 years, but I can't imagine how mind-blowing it must have been back then to play like barbarian empires or the original Roma Surrectum and all these mods and
yes.
EB2 and like there's so many insane and beautiful mods
I
for those
think
games.
Roba Barbarorum 2 was for medieval 2.
Yeah.
Yes, but I have like very good memories about mods like Rome Total Realism.
Yep.
Also, I enjoyed a lot Europa Barbarorum. Yes,
Yep.
And also the one that I was telling you, like Peninsula Iberica, Italica. Sorry, I live in the Peninsula Iberica, in the Italic Peninsula. That was like very cool, like all the kind of troops that they had, and also the combat system. They describe how all the points were for all the units, and it was like something that they have to thought about it, and like very good ideas they had. Yes.
Yeah, that's the
So
thing.
thanks for all the creators that were long time ago making this content.
Yeah, I mean, uh, okay, 2 points there. First, you're totally right, dude. I mean, we have to be so grateful and appreciative of those people because they put thousands of hours into creating these mods, and
Yes.
there's so much detail and historical research and the collaboration, between modders to bring these things together and make them, you know, functional without bugs and too many crash issues. And obviously there
Rome
still were
2
lots,
is
but
like from 2013, no? And Rome 1,
yeah,
do you know which year?
I don't
This
remember. I
is an
think
exam
Rome
question.
one's like 2004 or two. Yeah, I think it's. Oh,
Yes, it could
I need
be.
to look it up.
Well, it
I don't
doesn't
remember
matter,
now.
but yes, it
Yeah,
was like time ago, and yes, I have fond memories about.
yeah. No, no. I mean, me too. I remember being a kid and playing Rome Total War for the first time and playing it for like 6 months straight. And
Yes, it was like a very good step forward in comparison with the previous games with all the
yeah.
graphics in 3D, and yes,
Yeah, it was amazing. I
I lost
mean,
many hours there, I
many,
think.
many, many, many hours. And not just playing them either. I lost hours outside of playing thinking about them and like thinking about my next strategies and who I'm going to play as next, and it was just a very exciting, I think, time. Yeah. Um but yeah, so okay, let's fast forward a little bit. So you played Rome Medieval 2.
Yes.
Did you play Empire, Napoleon, Shogun 2, these games before you got to Rome 2?
Yes, I played Empire, but I like it. But it's not the kind of tactics is not
The
my
setting
favorite
didn't
one. I
capture you.
say.
Yeah, the kind of
Yes,
modern warfare.
I played it,
Um,
and it's like very cool. The game, like the Napoleon era and all that. Yes, but well, at some point I prefer to go back to the classic time frame.
mhm. Yeah, makes sense.
So also Medieval 2, I was recalling that I enjoyed a lot the Lord of the Rings mod.
Mhm.
It was like very good with all with the ends and with the elves and all that. Yes.
Yeah,
And I
100%.
guess you are playing still today. I mean, I see some YouTube content that there is still people playing it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, I think there are over 2,500 or 3,000 people still playing Medieval 2. And I can imagine a lot of them are playing mods like Third Age, Divide and Conquer, which is the Lord of the Rings mod, the big one for. But there are other Lord of the Rings mods as well for Medieval 2. There's Stainless Steel, the really, really big medieval mod. I mean, I personally love some of the more underrated ones as well, like Lucium Total War, which is a more modern setting. There's Sardoms, which is another medieval one. There's just so many. Like Medieval 2 has so many complete
Yes, yes,
overhaul
yes.
mods. It's incredible.
Also, for example, I loved Europa Barbarorum, but
Yeah.
it was developed the second part in for Medieval 2. But
Yep.
I haven't played that much because well, it start I think that when it was starting the Rome 2 game, and well, I am a traitor. I I started with Rome 2, so
Okay, fair enough.
but
So
I follow the development of this mod, and I love a lot the stuff that they design, all the units. I mean, it's
yeah,
like very good research behind the mod. Yes,
nice.
I've
Yeah, I
studied
mean,
history, and yes, I enjoy like reading the post and all the information.
Yeah, I love it too. I think that if you love mods for the gameplay, you love it to a certain extent. But if you love mods for the history and the detail, the research, you zoom up close for a few minutes and admire, the shields and the helmets and the tunics and you look at the descriptions, you read their kind of like history, why this unit was so powerful, effective, what weaponry, like there's so much detail, and
Yes,
as history lovers, like that's like gold, like that is
yes.
amazing to us. So yeah, I agree. So how did you feel when Rome 2 was announced,
Well,
and then
I
when you played
recall
it?
more. I recall more the feeling when it was released. That it was like very funny, like all the loads and all the yes, the units that were like some kind of weird looking and that kind of funny, but and all the blobs like the units, it was
Yeah,
a bit strange. But well, they released a lot of patches, and it's not a bad game, but I was like missing like for example like two lines classing, okay? Like in the battlefront, like the infantry line, like a phalanx or something like that. What I don't like is like they are like individual units. They don't usually act as a line of battle or a main army. So, well, I mean, anything is perfect, but that's a bit like the feeling that I had, that I was missing like, oh, hoplites, like work like hoplites, not like any spear unit. So, well, that's something to improve. There is always something to improve there,
yeah,
though there are hardcore parts of the game, no, or the engine that you can change. But well, I had that feeling that it's like a kind of mixed feeling, but I always enjoyed the game. So well, maybe you just forget like the little things that I think that any game that is a bit complex will have always.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that every game has issues. Every game has problems, bugs, things that don't load in properly, or something that's kind of clipping, not working mechanically. I think all Total War games are like that. But I think what happened with the release of Rome 2 is it was everywhere, and it was sort of, it
Yes,
was
it was like
obvious.
they released it like too soon. No,
Yeah,
maybe the game.
yeah. I think a lot of people
Maybe
agree. Yeah,
it's better to wait a bit and have something more polished and release a fixed game.
yeah.
Yes, but I recall some screenshots that were like very funny, like soldiers with the big head and
Yeah, I remember too. I mean, there are some amazing examples I remember
and I
of.
recall like a lot of people complaining in the forums and
Yeah, I got a lot of negativity. I mean, like you
that
said, it
well
didn't
maybe they
have.
were right, I don't know, but
Yeah. I mean, I think they were right. I mean, to release a game in that kind of state and act like it's okay, I think at the time was
yes,
a bit not great and not very positive for the community. And yeah, but like you said, I think I think CA did a lot of work to try and fix a lot of the issues, and I would say it's kind of like a lot of other Total War games in that issues are not as obvious. There's still some, but they're not as
yes,
obvious, and modders can do a lot of work to fix some of the more glaring ones and add a lot of content that has been that has kind of increased. I think the longevity of the game has allowed a lot of people to continue to enjoy Rome 2 in ways that they didn't imagine. Okay, so this sort of brings me to Para Bellum. And
yes.
well, why don't we start with what got you into modding? Because you mentioned you've modded lots of other mods and you've done other games as well. Give me a little background to the modder that is AveMetal and what he's done.
Well, I think that I started releasing a mod when the game was not released, maybe some months later. But I recall that in Rome 2, you have all the positions of all the cities, and that was not in Rome 1. It was like a part of the magic to explore the map and not just go where all the cities are in the map. So it just
Yeah.
like change only one texture, make it like alpha channel, like invisible. So then you just as you explore the fog of war and you discover the cities, just they just reveal. Okay, so that was like my first mod, like something very very easy. And then I don't know the next ones that I released, like maybe changing some textures or something like that. Then, oh, this unit, I don't like this, like the combat mechanics or something like that, like maybe just few fixes. And I started like to ask people like, I can use this, because I started like modding for myself, because I all the aspects of the game that I didn't like, I just without any hurry, okay, just little by little. And well, then I realized like time later that, oh, I have a lot of content, and it would be like cool like to release this, because uh, well, then I asked all permission for all the people whose work I used. So well, I am very grateful with the community. Most people just give me the permission. So do I. If someone asks me, I don't have any problem. I mean, and if someone doesn't want to share his content, I have no problem. I mean, it's not an issue. So yes, I have a lot of things, and I was thinking like, oh, this would be a pity not to share with the rest. So yes, Para Bellum is not just like my work. I merge it, and I adjust it, or yes, fine tune it a bit, like to make a whole with an idea. I mean, yes, I add a lot of content, but there is also many content of many others. So, well, I mean, I don't have like a team of people, like a lot of work, a lot like in other mods. Like you can see in the forums, like what they have like 3 people making unit. But I don't think it's this way in Rome 2. Maybe because the game is a bit old. But this other way, I could have a lot of content. Yes. Well, now I'm working with Pontifex, that is like the other creator of Para Bellum. He has also a lot of his own mods. So we share content, and it's like this way. And well, Para Bellum grew in the first moment like this way, and I also keep like watching what is released in the workshop, and I think, oh, this could be cool to add it or what else. So I ask the people, and yes, for example, in the next release, I'm going to credit a lot of people that helped me in this way.
Nice. That's really cool. Yeah, I think just to on that last point, I think a lot of people don't realize that overhaul mods like yours and others, MK1212, DEI, Ancient Empires, all these big mods, they're not really usually not down to one person. They're a lot of people, and
Yes.
it might have a core team, like you're saying you've got Pontifex, so kind of a core of 2 people working on it, on and off, but it usually involves a contribution of lots of people. Maybe someone uploads a submod to add building slots, and you're like, wow, that's really cool. I'm going to add it to this mod and try and credit him and ask him for permission and get that on and see how it can elevate Para Bellum even more. A lot of people don't realize that, which is
Yes.
a really important point to make, actually. So thank you for doing that. And yeah, I think Para Bellum is a really cool, interesting one, because a lot of overhaul mods are very rigid. They're very like, this is the mod and that's it. You're going to play this. There's not a lot of
Yes.
customization. Can't kind of like pick and choose really what you want out of it. Whereas Para Bellum offers a bit more modularity, a bit more choice to the player and what they want to choose to play, and that's quite cool. And I think like you said, you've had a lot of content. You've this is years of work. So you've tweaked a lot of things. You made things better to how you want it to be, but you're also very community orientated. So you've taken a lot of feedback. Lots of testing has helped you as well. And it's really cool. Yeah. So I really enjoy it. I think a lot of people do.
Yes, about that is modular. Well, I think that there are not many mods in this way that you can just choose the part that you like.
Yeah.
So it was like easier for me like to release like the parts initially. Like okay, you want to play like a better campaign. There are lots of mods like in this way. No, like better, I don't know, better combat or something like that. Yes, but at the same time, as the mod grows, I have a collection that it's like just merging all these parts together. But it's not easy to, as it is growing, it's not easy to keep like the all separated because many parts are depending on others. So yes, you have to. Yes, it's like a snowball that is growing and it's giving a lot of work. But yes. Is
Yeah.
like the idea behind.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it makes total sense. As the mod gets more complicated and you add new mechanics or you change certain textures or etc. and you will have an impact on what actually needs to be connected for that to run and work without kind of failing and bugging out or
yes, or just I make an update and it doesn't work. So for example, the game is not starting and I think it's like, oh, there is something missing here because I have to copy like a table or something from one place to another. So yes, it could be maybe a texture if it's reading like a registry or something from a part that is not in where it needs. So yes, more work, more problems. Yes, modding is about problems always.
Yeah, I think modding is more.
You see the beautiful
problems.
part, but
yeah, true, exactly. Yeah, and this is partly why I love doing this series and having this kind of discussion with modders like yourself because it lets people kind of see the background a little bit, the how much effort and energy it goes into making these mods, how many problems you have to solve on a day-to-day basis.
oh. For example, I wanted to improve the scripts and is crashing to desktop. So changing anything is going to give problems. So I'd like, for example, to also make like modular scripts, like you can activate the parts that you like or not, but I waste many time with this, but it's like an obsession. It's like, oh, I'm so close, but no.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I think like the only alternative that I can think of is I don't know if you've ever played. You probably haven't actually. Pirates Uber Alles for Empire.
No.
So that's an interesting mod because again, kind of like Para Bellum, it's very modular, but all the parts aren't separate. It's on the same mod. What they've done is they've got their own launcher. So you
okay.
start Pirates Uber Alles, and this menu comes up and it says, hey, what era do you want to play? What factions do you want? Aggressive, emergent empires, or
that's a good idea.
Times.
And I guess that a lot of work behind.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when the launcher first released, and everybody was like, "This is a game changer. What are you doing here? I have access to all these buttons, and I can have all sorts of variety when it comes to campaign to campaign." It's very different.
There is a lot of talented people behind. Yes.
yeah, definitely. But you're right. I can't think of any other mod really that is as modular the way you are, the way Para Bellum is for Rome 2 Total War. What made you decide to do it that way? What did it kind of start? I imagine it kind of started like you were saying, like a collection of mods that and mods that you were working on that you started putting together. And
it was like a kind of to keep the things in order. Like okay, to play the campaign, to improve the combat. For example, if I wanted to play with another combat mod, I can start playing with my campaign and try other mods, so it could keep like compatible. So yes, it started like something normal when things were not very complex. But yes, when the mod is like a lot of gigabytes and that, well, it's going to give a little bit of more extra work. But
Yeah.
yes, it started like something, I don't know, like something normal, or
Yeah, makes
when the
sense.
mod is not very big, it's not a problem. I mean,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, you started off
and then I see that it's like something that people like, oh, you can play the part that you like, and what?
yeah. I
I'm
think
going to close the door. That
yeah, no worries. I think a lot of people complain. Like people love overhaul mods and conversion mods, but I do see a lot of people who complain that they're not very compatible, that they're not modular, and you can't pick and choose what you want involved and what mechanic you want to have there. Or maybe like something as simple as faction unlockers, like so yeah, I think it's a rare thing to see something as modular as Para Bellum, where you have that big content, but you can sort of still be able to choose what you want and what you don't want. That you don't get that with other mods, really. Cool. All right. So, Para Bellum is, I mean, uh, at a pretty
also,
big
excuse
state
me,
right now.
that was
Yeah.
an idea that I just recall, and it's because, well, I mean, the other mods has like the idea to, for example, I haven't played DI much, okay, but I guess that they have a team and they know what they want to do. In my case, it's like I just start improving, like, oh, like the base of the game, as we talked before, is like it's big. It's like it has a very big scale. So instead of making all from scratch, that I guess that is like the starting point of many mods, I just took what it was good for me from the game, and I just start improving it. Okay. Well, at this point, it's like not like the original game. I mean, every aspect is changed, like for example the unit stats, but it's something like it started like little by little. I didn't have like the idea or even the will to make a mod like with a big idea of the mod. I mean, like something like it just started. Like I ask to the people, oh, I can use this, oh, I can use that. So at the end, yes. And also I use it in my own way. I mean, I ask also permission to, well, maybe I'm going to change this a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it
I
makes
hope
total
I can
sense.
explain myself.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense. Your project, like Parabellum, what you're saying is it never had a defining, it has to be this vision. It was evolving and you were
Yes.
constantly finding something new that
For
you wanted to
example, with
add,
the
something you
units,
wanted
I
to
can still
change.
improve a lot of things of the units, like the appearance or something like that. That, well, I still can use a lot of the content that there is in the game. In a next phase or in a next updates, I want to add like historical units, like new units. I already have some new units in the open beta, but like make also, if you want to choose it, it's going to be like another mod. Like apart from the units, you want more units, because I've noticed that just adding more units just for having more is not better for the game. So like the area of recruitment system, I was thinking also to make it like separately, but it's going to be also part of the game, because for what I've tested, is not going to give some problems. But yes, that is the idea behind. It's like, as there is content in the game that I can still, it's like to use all that I have and keep improving it. Once I I well, you are always have to you are always going to have things to improve,
Yeah.
but to use what I have, I still have a lot of work before I go to other parts. and I don't have like a roadmap, or I just mod for a hobby. So maybe I start like making something and I discover something new. For example, I know that you like a lot like the first Punic war mod that we are developing in the Rise of the
Yeah,
Republic
right.
map. But I have it is in an advanced state, but it's like oh, this mod it is dependent of Para Bellum in this case, okay? In like because it's very complex. It would be cool, like the successor wars from Pontifex.
Yeah.
It's compatible with Para Bellum, but because we made a patch, okay? But you can play like, oh, you like vanilla or with any other mods. But in this case, it started to grow like very fast, and it was depending on Para Bellum. So I have to update other parts of Para Bellum before continuing it, okay? So, well, I mean, and also I start like, as I say before, like I discover something new. Oh, I forgot what I was doing, and I like open a new line of research. So
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, it sounds really creative, basically. A lot of people,
yes,
especially like DEI, I can imagine, is much more this is the objective, who's doing this, and working and working and working and working. And you meet that objective, and okay, like the update has these things that we want, and 6 months, 8 months, however long it takes. Whereas yours is a lot more creative. It's you're working on this, you're not happy with this, and oh well, let's look at this, and oh, this is on the workshop. Let me talk to the creator, see what they think, and oh, Successor Wars is coming out. Let's make a patch for that, make it compatible. Like
yes.
there's always something kind of new,
I
keeping
have like
you
a
interested.
general idea, but if I start developing something and I got bored about it, or it's not that I got bored, but I find something new. Maybe I start researching what till which point I can reach.
Yeah, makes
In
sense.
this
Okay,
sense. So
well, like speaking of Successor Wars, and Pontifex and how he's been doing that. How's that going? And you mentioned obviously it's now patched to be played with Para Bellum. Did you do any work on Successor Wars as well? I don't remember.
mm, not much. I mean, it's like his campaign. I think that I share with him like um, some designs of some shields or something like that, but nothing special. And um, just I made the patch. It's just because I think it's like a great campaign, and I'd like to have some of the features of Para Bellum, like for example, like the phalanx units, like to have like a more realistic number of men in each unit, and yes, like to make it compatible. And for example, I'm working in the area of recruitment system. I think it's called no, like AOR or something like that.
Yeah,
Yes, I think that he's working now in an update of this mod, and I'd like to make this the area of recruitment like compatible with his mod. So, well, when it's released or when I have something finished to send him, I'll just send to him so he can check,
okay,
and we'll see.
nice. Yeah, sounds good. So it's his mod, but you are kind of contributing in a few little minor ways
Yes.
and making
Well,
it compatible.
apart from that, we speak a lot of history, and well, like it's like part of the hobby. Will I'd say.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, and you mentioned for a moment there, obviously, what you're working on next for Para Bellum in terms of the new campaign on the Rise of the Republic DLC and the First Punic War. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how that's going?
Well, I think that there is an interesting thing that, for example, I don't know if you have seen some of the previews of the rise of the first Punic War. Sorry. So the idea is like once we have all these units, for example, I don't know, it's just an idea, but to make the Pyrrhus the Great campaign, like it's just a few years of difference, so we can take advantage of a lot of the work that we've developed It's just, for example, changing the factions, like how they are aligned. So with take advantage of a lot of the work that we have, like is a lot, for example, for Para Bellum, I have a lot of like development lines that like a lot of designs that I have not finished, but it's like what I told you before, that if I want to make textures, well, I will continue that part. But for example now, well, it's not like I have like an idea. I mean, for example, now I'm focused to launch the next release. It's like all focus on that. I mean, it's not like, but well, maybe I discover something. I could add it. So another 2 weeks or month. But yes, what was the original question? Okay, like for example, like some of the factions are also in the main campaign. So not just make another campaign. Just we could use. Yes, the idea is to use all that we have and could be used to improve other areas. So there is a lot of potential there.
Okay, nice. Cool.
But well, it's important to stay focused. Okay, it's like yes, we have a lot of ideas, but it's also important to know a bit the steps. And well,
yeah, fair enough.
It's like I have a game to keep modding for a while.
Yeah,
it's the good about Rome.
Good to hear. Good to hear. And the first Punic War, just to make everyone like clear, essentially, you haven't seen anything about it. It's about the first Punic War. It's set on the Rise of the Republic DLC campaign, and presumably, like, what sort of like playable factions are you thinking? Like, will you have a playable Carthage, Rome?
Yes, it's like to give. It's like. It has some issues, like as Rome was already a big faction, yes, with a lot of allies. I mean, but the idea is like to make it like unique in the sense, for example, Carthage with to have access to a lot of mercenaries, and Rome by the other side, well, and Carthage also with a very big fleet.
Yeah.
Also, like at the event that like Romans find a shipwreck and discover how they make the ships. Like each part has like some instructions, like a number, so they know how to the part to build the ship. Sorry, my English is horrible, but
no, all good.
But so
very historical.
At this like an event when the year comes. And then like activate the technology, and then the Romans can from that point also build better ships.
That's awesome.
Also, Romans will rely more on their allies, so they have a lot of variety. I mean, the troops are in the same, I'd say, function or something like that. Like like the Soci were like. Different type, but not too many. Like, well, the extraordinary were like the best, like the elite soldiers. But also you will have in each faction of the allies their own type. So yes, there are like 60 new unit types if I recall correctly.
Wow. And
also it's like an idea for later, like take advantage for another. Not I think that Pyrrhus the Great, like when you can use a lot of these units. I mean, change the allied side, or yes, just adapt it. It's like I have a lot of work, and I can, instead of being Shoki or allies, they would be like their own faction. Well, it in the case of the first Punic War is going to be a bit difficult, maybe the balance, but well, the reskin of the units and all that is advanced, but it's another of my problems because, for example, I start like to make, I don't know, the Greeks. I was making like the Greeks, and there is a lot of good assets from the DLC. But there are tools that you can change the 3D models. So, well, I start to see one helmet, for example, and with a few changes, I have a lot of varieties of the same helmet. But I think that I would let this kind of details for a second release, or better say like for an update. Like, well, I update, so focus a little bit, and instead of like releasing all together like the core of the mod, and then some like this I'd say like makeup aesthetics for later,
Polish.
so I can release it before I am too old.
No. Okay, nice. Well, that sounds really good, really promising. I wish you luck with that. Can't wait to see it and try it out. Obviously, I think a lot of people are very excited for. They're always more excited about new campaigns and new settings.
Yes,
and,
I know.
and everything. So yeah, very very excited. And yeah, okay. And like I guess is Pontifex working with you on that campaign as well, or is it just you?
Yes. He's very good making campaigns. So all the start post like is like very complicated, and that is part of him. So
Nice.
I am making the easy part.
And are you
the
like
beautiful units?
and you were, like we were saying earlier, there's a lot of modularity to Para Bellum. You're picking and choosing things that you see sometimes. And are you doing a lot of that with this campaign specifically as well, or is it kind of like you were saying, more like using the stuff you've already made and bringing it over and reusing?
Yes, in this case, it needs at base Para Bellum, okay, but it has its own adjustments, so it's going to change many details in this way. Okay. I mean, it's like going to be its own campaign. Para Bellum in this case is like a base, like you have to subscribe because it has to some data of it, but the idea has a campaign with its own identity, I would say. I don't know.
Nice. Yeah, sounds like it. I'm very excited. Cool. All right. Let's do a final question then. Before we end the interview here, I've got one that's kind of been I've been interested. It's in the back of my brain, and I want to ask.
Yes.
What are like some of the like modding challenges that you're going through? What are the tools like behind modding for Rome 2? Are they like do you think they're good enough? Do you think that modding tools could be better? Just kind of like the kind of diving a bit more into modding Total War and Rome 2 and how easy it is. Could it be easier? Yeah, something like that.
Well, I mean, the tools are good, but it depends. So, for example, you can make everything that you want. I mean, you can start. For example, I like I would like to translate like with animations the combat styles of the Romans, but they have like a pilum, and they could use it also to avoid cavalry or repel it or whatever. But yes, in the game, just they throw it like, oh. So, for example, I would like to make a lot of details, but yes, you always have like limitations of the game engine. Also, the tools are evolving a lot. There is a lot of talented developers that are bringing us tools like the asset editor that I recommend because it's like very easy to use, and you can change the models, also the animations. And in this regard, for example, I recall that I mean, there are some areas that I spend or waste a lot of time because I just I think that I can achieve something. Well, maybe you can achieve it like partially, or it's like it has like a dead end. I mean, it's like a hobby. You have to research it and try. You know that horses in antiquity, they were like, I wouldn't say like ponies, because I don't know, here in Spain is like very very little, but I don't know, like, yes, it was like a bit ridiculous. I mean, it's not like the horses that we have nowadays. And with this tool, with the asset editor, you can change the 3D models, but for example, the skeleton was not matching the model, so the animation was like weird. Okay. and I made like the different types of horses or race of horses. Like the Nissan, if I recall, there were like big horses and that. But I just achieved like I couldn't change this. I mean, if I spend like a lot of more time and I talked with the creator of this tool, maybe I could reach exactly what I want. But in this case, I found like a partial solution that in the next update of Para Bellum, well, the horses will be like more in the relative size they were in comparison with humans.
Right.
So like kind of funny, like a little horse, and
Oh, yeah.
but it's
Icelandic,
realistic.
Shetland horses. Yeah, fair enough.
So well, the tools allow you to do a lot of things, but if you are a kind of obsessive person and want something exactly like that, it's going to be a problem. And
Okay.
also, well, I don't know if it's the tools, but all there are I don't know if it's frustrating, but something many in my experience, I don't know in others ones. Maybe because I try to make different things, like different areas, like I don't know, the combat system or textures or scripts in which I am not very good. But many things are not going to, I mean, or before they work, you are going to have like a lot of trial and error. So, well, that's not the fault of the tool itself, but what the game engine also have like a hardcore part that you are not going to change. You can trick it in many ways. Like in Para Bellum, I learned a lot of things from what I've read or many other modders that I talk with. So there is people that know a lot of things. For example, the artificial intelligence, you can change it directly, but you can trick it with some stats or to make some things. So at the end, well, it's like everything in life. I mean, with some tricks, you can achieve something.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. So you're saying, there are limitations. The engine is hard coded in some areas, so you can't touch them, but there are ways in which if you change this value here, if you add this
Yes,
here, you can kind of go
it's not
around
going
it. And
to work always, but it's just an example.
yeah, makes sense, definitely. Okay, cool. And then final question before we end.
Oh,
Would you like a Rome 3 Total War?
yes. What do you know about it?
No, I don't know anything about it. I don't,
I'm a bit out of the news or everything in general, because I'm very busy in general. But I thought they are going to say something like in, I don't know if in December or something like that, like a new big announcement or
yeah,
something like
I
that.
think the idea is at the end of the 25-year anniversary celebration, they announce a new fantasy game and a new historical game. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe it's
Oh,
Rome 3 and we get a Para
oh.
Bellum like Rome 3 relaunch.
I don't know if it's going to be difficult to make a new game of the scale of Rome, for example. But for example, a new empire, the time frame, I don't know. I don't care if it's a bit later or earlier. But well, you can imagine like a world scale. I don't know if a game like that they would announce, but it would be interesting.
Yeah,
I don't
definitely. It
know.
will. It will. It will. Yeah, we'll see. Well, thank you again for being here, AveMetal, for discussion and interview and getting to know you and Para Bellum and your modding
Okay,
experience. Our love of Total War and yeah, having the time to be here. I really appreciate it. So thank you.
my pleasure. It's been my pleasure.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining and watching the video. If you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, of course, and stay tuned for more interviews just like this. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and thanks again, AveMetal, for being here, and I'll see you all next time.
Bye bye. Thanks.
Bye.